the worst prison in the world, and where they are located. You would definitely love this. Now, prisons are supposed to be places of punishment and rehabilitation, where individuals who have committed crimes can be held accountable for their actions and given a chance to turn their lives around. However, some prisons around the world have gained a reputation for being some of the most brutal and inhumane institutions on the planet. In this video, we'll take a closer look at some of the worst prisons in the world and the countries where they are actually located. In number 10, we have the Black Beach Prison. This particular prison is located on the island of Bioko in Equatorial Guinea. Black Beach Prison is notorious for its brutal conditions and mistreatments of prisoners. Inmates are often subjected to beatings, torture, and other forms of abuse by prison guards. Many are held in overcrowded and unsanitary cells, and medical care is often non-existent. The prison has been criticized by human rights groups for its treatment of political prisoners and other detainees. And in number 9, we have the Tadmor Prison in Syria. Tadmor Prison, also known as Palmyra Prison, was a notorious detention center in Syria that was closed in 2001, but reopened in 2011 during the country's civil war. The prison was infamous for its brutal treatment of inmates, including beatings, torture, and executions. In 1980, the prison was the site of a massacre in which at least 500 prisoners were killed by government forces. In 2015, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS, took control of the prison and carried out their own atrocities. In number 8, we have La Sabaneta Prison in Venezuela. It is one of the most overcrowded and violent prisons in the world. The prison was designed to hold about 15,000 inmates, but currently houses over 25,000 inmates, resulting in extreme overcrowding and unsanitary conditions. Violence is rampant within the prison, and inmates often have to rely on their families to bring them food and other basic necessities. In number 7, we have Bang Kwang Central Prison. This prison, also known as the Bangkok Hilton, is Thailand's most notorious prison. Inmates are held in cramped cells and subjected to extreme heat and humidity. Torture and other forms of mistreatment are common, and death sentences are carried out by lethal injection. Inmates are required to wear leg irons at all times and are only allowed 1 hour of exercise per day. In number 6, we have Camp 22, which is also known as the Heyung Concentration Camp, which is a camp in North Korea and is notorious for its brutal treatment of inmates. The camp is believed to hold up to 50,000 prisoners, many of whom are political dissidents or other individuals deemed a threat to the government. Inmates are subjected to forced labor, torture, and other forms of abuse. The camp is surrounded by electrified fences and guard towers, and attempts to escape are met with severe punishments. In number 5, we have the Botkaira Prison, which is located in Russia. Now, this prison, which is situated in Moscow, is one of the oldest and most notorious prisons in the country. Inmates are often held in overcrowded and unsanitary cells and are subjected to abuse and mistreatment by guards. Disease is rampant within the prison and medical care is often non-existent. Inmates are also required to pay bribes to guards for basic necessities like food and water. In number 4, we have the Carandiru Penitentiary, which is situated in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Now, this particular prison was one of the largest prisons in Latin America before it was closed in 2002. The prison was infamous for its violence and overcrowding, with over 8,000 inmates held in a facility designed to hold only 3,500. In 1992, a brutal massacre occurred in which police officers killed 111 inmates during a riot. The incident was widely condemned and the prison was eventually closed due to its inhumane conditions. In number 3, San Pedro Prison in Bolivia. Now, this particular prison in La Paz, Bolivia is unique in that it is essentially a self-contained community run by the inmates themselves. While this might sound like a positive aspect, the reality is much darker. Inmates are often forced to pay bribes to guards to secure basic necessities like food and water, and violence is rampant within the prison. Drug trafficking and other criminal activities are also common, and many inmates live in fear of reprisals from rival gangs. In number 3, Gitarama Central Prison, which is situated in Rwanda. Now, this particular prison is known for its inhumane conditions and lack of medical care. Inmates are often held in overcrowded and unsanitary cells and are subjected to abuse and mistreatment by guards. Disease is rampant within the prison, and many inmates suffer from malnutrition and other health conditions. The prison gained notoriety during the Rwandan genocide in 1994, when many Tutsi prisoners were killed by Hutu extremists. And in number 1, we have the legendary Rikers Island in the United States. Yes, the US. Now, this particular prison is one of the largest and most notorious jails in the United States. Inmates are held in overcrowded and unsanitary conditions, and violence is common within the facility. The jail has been criticized for its mistreatments of inmates, particularly those with mental health problems. In recent years, there have been calls to close the facility and replace it with a more modern and humane alternative. Frankly speaking, the prisons that are being listed in this video are some of the worst institutions in the world in terms of the treatment of inmates and overall conditions. While it is important to hold individuals accountable for their crimes, it is equally important to ensure that they are treated humanely and given the opportunity to rehabilitate themselves. Unfortunately, many of the prisons on the list being called out fall short of this standard, and the individuals held within them are subjected to brutal and inhumane conditions. As a global community, we must work to address these issues and strive for a more just and equitable system of criminal justice. Now, viewers, so what do you think? Do you think that the prisons that have been listed out here are the most dangerous prisons in terms of conditions, or do you think that there are some that are even worse than these? Now, if you know any prisons out there that are worse than these particular prisons, you can put them down in the comment section below, and do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you can get the best infotainment specially created for you out there. And of course, you'll always be the first to notice as long as you hit the notification button.